Hey, what's up guys, it's Thunderstruck115, and today, I just want to say 4 words. I told you so. I told all of y'all that the Battlefront Classic Collection was going to be overpriced and underwhelming, and guess what? I was right. I had a lot of people bitching about my fucking videos saying, oh, $35 is a reasonable price. These are classic games. You're just being a hater. And then the collection actually released, and my god, it was fucking terrible. Managing to achieve a 20% review score on Steam. That's fucking terrible, especially when you consider that you have to have actually bought the game on Steam in order to leave a review. So I'm gonna take the opportunity to say, fuck you, I was right, fuck you, I was right, fuck you, I was right! I'm not gonna call this a victory lap, though, because in reality, this isn't a victory for anybody. Not for me, not for the fans, not for Aspire. Now, you might be saying, oh, come on, Thunder, surely the collection's not as bad as you thought it would be. And you're right, it's not. It's way worse than that. See, as underwhelming as I thought this collection was, I at the very least expected it to function correctly. It does not function correctly. See, I already thought that the current state of AAA gaming was pretty bad, seeing as most new releases launch in a buggy, broken state. But now AAA gaming has hit a new low because now it's releasing old-ass games in a buggy, broken state. Even though they were working perfectly fine 20 years ago. Like, how on earth does this fucking happen? Let's start with the big one. Online multiplayer. This was supposed to be this collection's ace in the hole. Even if it was a completely lazy cash grab in every other area, the fact that it would essentially revive the online multiplayer for this game would be the one thing that you could argue makes this collection worth it. And Aspire completely managed to bungle it. The servers and netcode for this game are extremely terrible. Everything is so fucking laggy. 70% of my shots don't register properly. Movement feels erratic because of the lag. It is practically unplayable. The last time I saw a multiplayer game launch with servers this bad was Battlefield 2042. And not trying to defend Battlefield 2042's launch date or anything, but at the very least, that was a new game. This, however, is an old-ass game from 20 years ago that had functioning servers. Oh, and speaking of which, when it launched, there were only 3 of them, so that supports less than 200 players. Eventually, though, they did add more, but you probably don't want to play on them because the reinforcement counts for them are way too low for the amount of players in them. It's only like 150 or 200, which, given how many people there are killing each other at any given time, that reinforcement count is going to deplete really quickly. It is not uncommon for matches on official servers to last less than 2 minutes because of this. So you're better off just hopping into a custom server hosted by another player, because that way you can actually play for more than 2 minutes without running out of reinforcements. Not that you'd really want to do that either, because again, the lag is fucking atrocious. I mean, shit, the lag is so bad that after I refunded this game on Steam, I actually went back to the original release of Battlefront 2, played a bit of online matches there, and it was a night and day fucking difference. Sure, it isn't perfect in the original release, there is still some noticeable lag, but 1, it's consistent, and 2, it is way more playable. Like, I could actually enjoy myself and have a good time. So there's this collection's ace in the hole, and it's absolute dog shit. But what about the single-player side of things? Well, it's actually playable, thank God. But it's still worse than the original release, because I don't know why, but it seems like the AI is completely broken. A lot of the times, they just act borderline retarded, which, to be fair, the AI in the original release weren't exactly rocket scientists. But they were still fun to fight against. In this collection, however, you'll often see the AI try to shoot enemies through walls, run off a cliff into their death, or just stand around not doing anything at all until you attack them. And it gets even worse in the Hero Assault mode, which one of the big selling points was the fact that you could now play Hero Assault mode on any ground map. Unfortunately, the enemy AI for the heroes was not updated at all to accommodate the new maps. They would often get stuck on random shit and just wouldn't be able to get unstuck. It's really bizarre. And the rest of the collection is just riddled with a bunch of other small issues that just add up. For example, the list-based menu for selecting your class in the original is replaced with this rotary menu, which is a lot more cumbersome and a lot less intuitive. Not to mention, it just takes longer to select the class now. when playing Hero Assault on the Death Star map, using the force push to knock enemies off the catwalks and have them fall to their death does not count towards the kill score. Oh, and also on Death Star, some of the sliding doors that are supposed to open automatically when you approach them don't fucking open like they're supposed to when you approach them. And that's just the shit that I can actually remember. Trust me, there are more bugs that I either didn't notice myself, or I just don't remember. Needless to say, this collection is absolutely fucking abysmal, and that just brings me back to my point I made in my older video. You're better off just buying the original releases on Steam. They're cheaper, and not only that, but they also work correctly. And while it is disappointing, I can't really say I'm surprised. I knew even back then that this collection was going to be underwhelming. I just didn't expect it to be this underwhelming. Now, this should go without saying, but even though I figured back then that this collection would be underwhelming, I didn't want it to be underwhelming. I don't get off on games releasing in a poor state. I get off on making fun of idiots on the internet, and when I dared to share my unfiltered thoughts on how I thought this collection might be a scam, I got a ton of hate comments on that video saying that I was just overreacting. Now, granted, this didn't happen at first. For like the first 2 days, the response to my video was overall positive, but then 2 days after the video went up, I saw a massive spike in my view count, along with an influx of a ton of hate comments. And I considered making a response to those comments earlier, but I wanted to wait until the collection actually released, because trust me, I would have loved it if I ended up being completely wrong, if the collection would have been great, and I could have taken an L on that video. But it seems like instead of taking an L, I'm gonna have to hand out a bunch of L's.
Nobody is forced to buy it, and to everybody who's complaining, one question: is it more worth to get drunk with $35?
Yeah, this is the one angry comment that I got on this video after the collection had already launched, and the fact that this dude is still running damage control for this game after it's released and everybody knows it's in a buggy, broken state is honestly just sad and pathetic. But to answer your question, yes, I would much rather spend that $35 on hard liquor, because I have never been disappointed by a margarita before, which is more than I can say for this collection.
$31 is not overpriced. $69 to $159 is overpriced, and I pre-ordered mine, so get butthurt, lol.
When the collection barely offers anything more than the original releases, which you can get both of them for only $20, then yes, that is overpriced. And that's especially true now that we know that the collection is absolutely broken. So congratulations, all you proved is that you can waste your money on shitty products. And I guess something else that this proves is that you should never pre-order shit, especially in this day and age.
I'll take $35 is nothing, and it's a major upgrade to well-loved classics with better textures, lighting, 64-bit, etc. If you can't tell the visual differences, that's on you because it's incredibly obvious. Also, several new maps and 2 new heroes, dedicated servers, and changes to many game modes. Do your research before bashing a game that you haven't played.
No, that is objectively false. At the time that I posted this video, only the initial reveal trailer was available, and there were absolutely no visual upgrades shown off in that trailer. It wasn't until a future trailer where they showed off things like better skyboxes and lighting effects, and even then, it's shit that you don't even notice most of the time during gameplay. Second of all, the new maps and heroes are literally just being ported in from the Xbox version, which were also playable on the PC via a simple mod. As for dedicated servers, those were quite literally in the original. And if you think I didn't do my research, then you clearly did not watch the video, because I literally went over all of this in the video. In fact, I even pointed out how them saying they added Jabba's Palace to Battlefront 1 was misleading, seeing as it was already in Battlefront 1 to begin with, of which I show the receipts to back it up, so...
Projection detected, opinion rejected.
Alright, you're stretching huge. The price isn't even a full $60, and it comes with even more content in the PS2 version at launch, so come on, man.
Hide your brain cells. It's Tarragon, the same dude that was complaining about Elden Ring because it wasn't like Skyrim or Far Cry. Like, dude, I sure fucking hope it's not $60, because if it was, I'd be putting this game on blast even more than I already am. It being $35 is kind of a problem when the original releases are available on Steam for $20, and all the content being added to this new collection can be easily patched in with mods. So what am I really paying for? Convenience? Does paying an additional $15 for a few maps that are ported from the other games sound convenient to you? Because it doesn't to me.
People like this are why we won't get a Battlefront 3 for a long time. Always complaining about something. Why can't you just enjoy the fact that we're getting 2 classic games for $30 instead of 1 game for $70 like all the other games in the market? Making a whole video about why you shouldn't get the game when this could very well be the answer to a new and improved Battlefront. If this gets enough sales, developers will have no choice but to acknowledge the love people still have for this franchise, and Disney will definitely not ignore the money it brings in. If you're still reading this comment, please don't listen to this nonsense of a video and buy the Classic Collection.
Mission failed. We'll get them next time.
Such wonderful insight. Don't ask questions, don't expect better value for money, just consume product. Also, if you really think that this collection is going to lead to a Battlefront 3, then you're incredibly naive, because this is just a clear cash grab of a port designed to market off people's nostalgia. Nothing more.
You guys complain about everything.
Is that really a surprise? Because when I look at this product and I see the fact that it's not really offering me anything that I can't already get by buying the original releases on Steam, or more accurately, by just keeping on playing the original versions that I've owned since 2017, obviously I'm gonna voice my criticisms because I expect to get value for my money, and this collection does not provide that.
Cannot believe that people are crying about paying $35 for 2 games with a ton of content. Sad that y'all just look for the negatives all the time.
Well, first of all, I can get those exact same 2 games for only $20 on Steam, which, by the way, is in a superior form compared to the Classic Collection. But on top of that, plenty of other re-releases, remasters, and collections offer a much greater value for money, as I demonstrated at the end of the video. Again, look at Halo MCC, look at the Quake 2 remaster, look at the Command & Conquer Remaster Collection, or hell, I can actually add another one to that, the Command & Conquer Ultimate Collection, which has literally every game in the series besides the remaster for only $20, which equates to 9 games plus all of their expansions.
OMG, it's only a few dollars more. Whee!
Okay, first of all, it's $15 more, which is 75% more expensive than the original release, and second of all, it barely adds anything to that original release to make it worth the price of admission. There, does that make it clear for you?
Somebody send them $10 for a hot plate.
Well, I'm waiting.
I miss the old days when we didn't have sober YouTubers talking negatively on every game.
Yeah, and I miss the days where re-releases and collections would actually offer a good value for money instead of being a cheap cash grab. Wait a minute, we never left that era, did we? It's just that Aspyr can't seem to match the standards of other companies.
It's $30. It could have been 50. YouTubers.
It's 75% more expensive. It could have had a bunch of new content. Corporate bootlickers.
Not really. This is mostly for people who don't have PC and that can't also access them via modern consoles. So $35 is a steal for me.
Can't believe I need to point out the fucking obvious, but if this was only ever meant for console players, then why is there also a PC version?
Despite the points, due to recent events, if we seriously want Star Wars games to thrive, you might want to strongly consider supporting this release.
You know, I think Elfather2045 did a better job responding to this comment than I ever could. Support a clearly fast and bad port just to cash grab easy money from nostalgia fans? No thanks, I won't support that. You know, I don't think I could have put it better myself.
Dude, I've heard of games that offer less for more. Halo Master Chief Collection, hell, look at the reboot game, $60+ and they had less content that wasn't added through micro-purchases or free updates.
Now, I can't really speak for Battlefront 2 Reboot because I haven't played it, but Halo the Master Chief Collection offering less for more? What are you on? I mean, I guess technically MCC is $5 more than the Battlefront Collection, but it also offers a hell of a lot more. You're getting every mainline Halo game prior to Halo 5 for just $40. On top of that, Halo CE and Halo 2 got remastered visuals, music, and sound effects for the campaign. We got increases to the object cap for all the Forge modes and all the games that had them. We got a completely new multiplayer mode in the form of Halo 2 Anniversary. And I can go on and on and on. Meanwhile, the Battlefront Collection is $35 for only 2 games with barely any enhancements or additional content. On top of that, it didn't even work correctly either, which, to be fair, neither did Halo MCC at launch, but nowadays it's an amazing deal. It also comes with the context that the original releases are already available on Steam for significantly cheaper than this collection, which was not the case for Halo MCC. While the Xbox 360 Halo games are backwards compatible, you're not going to get them for as good of a deal as the Master Chief Collection.
What are you crying about? The games come in one collection with added content and slightly improved visuals and 64-player multiplayer, all for under $35.
Yeah, and the original releases of those games, which I already own, by the way, are already available on Steam for $20, which they also have 64-player multiplayer, and the additional content added in the collection can very easily be modded in, since it's literally just a port from the Xbox version. Which again, that's the crux of the issue. When the collection is more expensive than the original releases, and the amount of shit that they actually add to it is so minimal that you can even get it in the original releases through some simple modding if it's not already in there, then what is my incentive to buy the collection? Again, the only thing that you could potentially point to is the revamped online multiplayer, and like I described earlier, that ended up being completely botched.
Did you need the extra $15 for another Big Mac or something?
No, the issue isn't me not being able to afford it. If I wanted to, I could buy 50 damn copies of this collection tomorrow if I wanted to. My issue is, there's no value for money here because they don't really offer anything that I can't already get with the original releases that I already own.
I swear some people are never satisfied. People were begging for a release of these 2 games on modern consoles for ages. Now we are getting those with the DLC and even online multiplayer on all platforms as well. They even left split screen in for the people who still want to enjoy that classic experience, let alone that depending on how well this collection does, we might get the PSP games as well, or a proper third entry. Now people start to nitpick about how the price is too high, which it really isn't, and how they should have included 4-player split screen instead of 2, or any other minor detail on how this collection is not exactly how they envision it in their mind. That's why most companies just won't bother anymore, because no matter what you do, there's always some bitch who complains about the most minor thing possible.
Like I stated in the video, it is not an unreasonable expectation for a re-release of an old game to at least have all of the features that were available in the original release. The original console versions of this game had 4-player split screen, this one only has 2. That is an objective downgrade. Also, this really should go without saying, but when people ask for a re-release of an old game, they want it to actually be good. They want it to be worth their money. This collection is not worth the money, because it doesn't really offer much of anything to make it worth the additional price over the original releases that are already available. And this is especially true for people like me who already own those original versions. Dude, they didn't even overhaul the graphics, and misled consumers with bonus content which was actually content in vanilla. I call that lazy and a little malicious. They have a golden opportunity, and yet again they appear to be squandering it.
It's a more or less a port than a remake, so of course they aren't going to overhaul the graphics. As far as I'm aware, the DLC content was never advertised as brand new content, and even then, it pretty much is since it wasn't available on PS2, PSP, modern Xbox, and even PC unless you mod the game. Overall, I don't see the issue here. You have 2 classics available on every modern platform, running at 60 FPS, and with the DLC content and the online multiplayer, which except Steam, was unplayable since 2010, and even then, on Steam, the multiplayer ain't exactly perfect either.
False information has been detected. The bonus content was available in the original release on modern Xbox because I own the backwards compatible version since they gave them away for games with gold a few years ago, and guess what? It includes the fucking DLC, and that includes shit like Kit Fisto and Asajj Ventress. And while yes, online multiplayer has been dead on consoles for a while, that doesn't mean that we should lower our standards because of that. And while the online multiplayer on Steam is definitely not perfect, it's still miles better than this fucking collection.
People complaining about everything nowadays. Just be grateful we're even getting them back with online and they're really not that expensive, bro.
Getting them back? Motherfucker, they never left. They've literally been available for purchase on Steam for the past 20 fucking years. And you don't even need a powerful PC to play the originals anyway. My old-ass desktop from 2012 running on Intel integrated graphics that didn't even have its own dedicated GPU was able to handle the original releases of these games at 1080p 60 FPS perfectly fine. Which again, they have online play. Plus, those original versions are a lot cheaper than this collection, and also, they play a lot better than the collection. Oh boy, this next dude left 3 comments.
$30 is literally like an eighth of some weed. Go get some money and stop complaining.
Drug addict detected, opinion rejected.
This Thunderstruck guy is really broke. Games are $70 now. Why are you complaining about 30?
Well, for one, I don't like the fact that games are $70 now. In fact, I even have a video talking about that topic specifically. But second of all, the reason I'm complaining about 30 is because it's more expensive than the original releases, and it doesn't offer much to justify that increased price tag.
You're saying the game is overpriced. Honestly, it just sounds like you're broke as fuck. It's $30 plus tax. Please go get you some money.
Oh, I know the translation for this. In fact, I even have the clip.
I don't need to hear the perspective of a bunch of brokies who can't even fucking buy it anyway.
How are you liking the thumbs down? Console players don't want to crossplay with PC cheaters.
I am enjoying the thumbs down quite a lot, thank you very much. Engagement is engagement, and ad revenue is ad revenue. In fact, I made about $8 off this video, which for me is actually pretty good. Also, this may be anecdotal, but I'm just gonna say this. I have encountered way more cheaters on console than I have on PC.
Bro, they could have priced this at $60 and probably gotten tons of sales. They are releasing these games on platforms that they aren't currently available on. Switch and PS5. Getting pissy off getting 2 amazing games for only $35.
Should I do it again? Sure, why not?
Mission failed. We'll get them next time.
Also, just because they weren't on Switch or PS5 prior to having this collection does not mean that you should have lower expectations. The fact of the matter is, the originals were already available on other platforms for a significantly cheaper price. That alone is enough reason to expect better.
This is like the 3rd video I've seen ranting about the price. Have you guys never heard of licensing? Disney is probably making $20 and the developer is making 15. Stop crying!
You know, cool story and all, but
I missed the part where that's my problem.
regardless of who my money is going to, that doesn't change the fact that the product is not worth my money, because the originals exist, and I already own them. Plus, they're available for a much cheaper price for those that don't own it. And since there's barely anything added that comes close to justifying this price tag, there is no reason for me to want to buy this over the original.
Haha, Steam isn't the only place to plah.
And I never said it was the only place to plah.
Bruh, you get a loyalty discount for owning the classics.
And it's still more expensive than the original releases despite adding the bare minimum. What's your point?
Maybe move out of your mom's basement and get a real job and you'd realize that it isn't at all expensive.
Get a fucking job and get off of YouTube.
I do have a job. That's part of the reason why I want a better value for money, because I work hard for my fucking money.
Your whole channel is just nitpicking shit and arguing with people. Go to the gym and get a girlfriend, you silly.
Way ahead of you, buddy. Also, you didn't even answer my question. If the game is nearly twice as expensive as the original releases, which I already own, and it's not adding a significant portion of new content to be enjoyed, then what reason do I have to purchase it?
You're a loser, bro. Stop crying about $10.
It's $35, not $10. And it's $35 for two games that I already own in a superior form, might I add.
We're worth $30 if you ask me. I don't see the problem.
Then watch the video. I go over it in great detail.
Thunderstruck, your voice sounds like you need to blow your nose. Stop making videos and go do your house chores.
Already did my house chores, so I'm gonna keep making videos because it's really funny to see people like you get pissed off.
Overpriced? How broke could you possibly be? My car doesn't even get a full tank of gas with $30.
A bunch of brokies.
And what does this have to do with the collection? That doesn't change the fact that the originals exist for $20 instead of $35 for the collection. And you're not really missing out on anything by not getting the collection instead.
So many people in the comments have no idea what they're yapping about, and $30 is literally not much at all for these classic games to be brought back to the present.
These games literally never left the present to begin with, because the originals have already been available on Steam for purchase for the past 2 decades. And while you could bring up the fact that they haven't been available on consoles for a while, that doesn't really matter. There is still reason to expect better here. And with that, we have reached the end of these shitty comments. So I guess the key takeaway here is, don't let your nostalgia blind you to the fact that some of these companies really just want to fuck you over. And consider that just as important as the price is the actual value for the money you're getting. Again, the main thing that a lot of these people seem to miss is not just the fact that it's $35, but that it's also $15 more expensive than the original releases combined. Which, when combined with the lack of additional content being added, is why I made that video in the first place. That's not to say that I think people were wrong to be excited for the collection. In fact, there were plenty of comments I got in that video saying that they could see my points, but they were still excited regardless, and, you know, for those people, more power to them. Or maybe not, since the collection ended up being completely broken anyways. But there's nothing wrong with being excited for a game that other people are critical of. But if you're gonna try and defend that criticism, at least have a good fucking argument to do so. But that's gonna be it for this video. If you enjoyed, make sure you hit the like button and subscribe for more, and tell me what you think of these shitty ass comments in the comments section. Anyways, that's it. Peace!